So welcome everybody, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Ash. I'm the E-QIP program manager, and today I'm delivering this webinar on how to submit an application for our next cohort of project and data coaching with my colleague, Linda Saunders. So this is our agenda for the hour that we have together today. We're going to provide an overview of the Excellence Through Quality Improvement Project, which is E-QIP. Have the opportunity to meet our coaches. We're going to review the application form and process, and there'll be lots of time for questions and answers should you come up with any during the webinar. So just a very quick overview of Zoom controls if you have not yet used this particular platform. So going from left to right, we see the microphone icon, which will allow you to mute and unmute yourself. The video icon, which will allow you to show your image and not show your image. And over in the far right, we've got this little chat bubble with the 3 ellipsis dots, and you can use that to ask questions throughout the webinar today. We do respectfully ask that if you are not speaking, to please keep yourself on mute, and we will be addressing all questions at the end of today's webinar. So please, at any time, feel free to pop your question in the chat, and we'll be sure to address it when we get to that particular part of the webinar today. Also, just a reminder that today's webinar is being recorded so that we can share the information with the folks that were not able to actually make it and join us live, and just post this on our social media and our website as well. So just very briefly, what is E-QIP in case you're not familiar with us and what we do? So E-QIP is a collaborative partnership between Addictions and Mental Health Ontario, also known as AMHO, Canadian Mental Health Association Ontario Division, the Provincial Support Program at CAMH, also known as PSSB, and we're funded by the Mental Health and Addiction Centre of Excellence, which is at Ontario Health. And for those of you that may or may not know, the Ontario Health has laid out quality improvement in their roadmap to wellness. So it is a provincial priority. So the overarching goal of E-QIP is to promote and support quality improvement within the community mental health and addiction sector, in the province of Ontario. And the objectives for our current year of funding are to support community mental health and addiction agencies by increasing QI adoption culture and capacity, increasing the uptake of standardized tools and data sets, and the use of data for decision making and planning, when it's especially as it's related to quality improvement work, and the identification and development of QI indicators in the community mental health and addiction sector that align with provincial priorities and are embedded within a provincial performance framework as developed by the COE. So that brings us to our next little section where we're going to have the opportunity to have a bit of a meet and greet with our QI coaches. So this is our team here. We have currently 5 coaches on our team, and these are all subject matter experts in quality improvement, and would gladly support you should you choose to submit an application for QI data coaching. So I'll just read through the list, and I know some of my colleagues have joined me today while others are on vacation. So I'll pass it over to my colleagues if you don't mind just introducing yourself as well. So in the upper left, we have Laura Daly-Trottier. Right below her, we have Laurie Berry. Over to the right of Laura, we have Linda Saunders. Below Linda, we have Abel. And over in the far right, we have Rishi. So Laura, I know that you're on the call and you're in the upper corner there. Do you mind just introducing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ash. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Laura. I am one of the quality improvement coaches for the Excellence Through Quality Improvement Project, and I have been hanging out with this crew since September of 2016, and I've been coaching organizations across the province all through that time, and really excited to be embarking on our next cohort with my colleagues. So thank you for coming to this session, and I hope that you have some questions that we can answer for you today. So yeah, so happy to be here.
Thanks so much, Laura. Linda, did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself next?
For sure. Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm Linda Saunders. And just like Laura, I have been hanging out with this fabulous team since its inception in 2016. And also, I started originally in 2016 on a secondment from the CMHA Halliburton Kawartha Pine Ridge branch as well. And really looking forward to working with our next cohort, and excited to embark on that QI journey with you, and hope many of you on this line will give some consideration to submitting an application.
Thanks so much, Linda. Abel, could you provide a summary of the excellent work that you do?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Abel, and I have been with E-QIP since 2016 and worked with many teams and agencies across the province. And looking forward to have you for the next cohort as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much. And last but certainly not least, we have Rishi.
Thanks, Ash. Yeah, I will be the last to join compared to the rest of the team who has been here for quite some time. I joined last spring with the E-QIP team, and yeah, it's been a great with our last cohort, and looking really forward to the new cohort, and glad that the interest that you have taken time from and joining this session. So feel free to reach out to us with any of your questions, and we are happy to support you in any project, no matter how small or big your project might be. So,
thank you so much, Rishi. So we have Lori as well. Lori has expertise in data, and Lori is enjoying vacation this week, so we hope she's having a great time. So with that, I'm going to pass things over to Linda to review the application process.
Thank you, Ash. Certainly. So during our next set of slides, we will provide you with some information on our cohort QI project coaching and review the application form. So certainly, if selected, agency teams within the community mental health and addiction sector will work with a coach to develop essential QI and data analytical skills to complete and sustain a QI project and build a culture of continuous quality improvement. Next slide, Ash. So E-QIP supports community agency teams to use standardized tools to identify areas for improvement and complete some QI activities aligned to system priorities. And some examples of the standardized tools that we use are the Ontario Perception of Care, or also known as OPAC, the Ontario Common Assessment of Need, known as OCAN, and the Stage Screening and Assessment, the SSA tool, screener tool. So through cohort participation, agencies work with E-QIP certainly to implement QI projects designed to improve outcomes and care experiences for service users, and ideally using data from one or more of these standardized tools. So project teams are not required to be using a standardized tool to submit, although ideally you will have some data to inform your quality issue. So you're probably asking certainly what are some of the benefits of participating in our Cohort 6 project. Certainly one of those is, as previously mentioned, you've met our coaches. And so we do have dedicated one-to-one QI and data coaching for your project team to improve processes of care with the goal to enhance client experience and health outcomes. As also mentioned, we do have some support from subject matter experts on system and organizational priorities related to access to care and wait times and equity to guide your improvement projects and pandemic recovery efforts. There's also extensive training on QI methodology and tools based on the model for improvement, and also some sustainability planning to hold your gains. We do offer guidance on our annual quality improvement planning cycle to manage your improvement efforts. And one of the key things is certainly engagement with a community of agencies like yourselves who are working on the same QI planning cycle and with the same tools. And then there's also opportunities for you to share your learnings, learn from others, and benefit from the knowledge and experience of peer agencies. So if your agency does agree to participate in project coaching, you will be committing to identifying a project lead who will commit 3 to 4 hours per week for the QI project. Also identifying what is known as an executive sponsor who can guide and champion the project, ensure that there are adequate resources available, and remove any barriers for success. Supporting a project team that does meet regularly, and typically those meetings are held weekly, and that's where we actually work on the QI project and build QI capacity. Identifying a QI project focused on system priorities, such as access to care, equity, recovery planning, or related to an integrated quality improvement plan for an Ontario health team. We're also looking at dedicating resources to use data. Ideally, as we said, data from standardized tools, but certainly data that does inform your quality issue or opportunity and measurement improvement. Also providing some regular project updates to other cohort agencies and the E-QIP team during collaborative coaching sessions. And we refer to those as touch points. And we typically have those once a month. And also completing a QI and data culture assessment. This assessment will help us to determine what other E-QIP supports and resources may be beneficial to you and your organization. And so now I'm going to turn it over, I think, to Ash to walk us through the actual application form.
Thank you so much, Linda. So on the next several slides, you'll see little snapshots of the different sections of the application form. The questions that are on the online form that you can submit from our website are exactly the same as the downloadable, fillable PDF. So it's broken up into a few different sections, starting with Part A, which is all information related to the profile of your community mental health and or addiction agency. So we have, starting at the top, your organization name and address, the number of full-time employees in your organization, the CMS or client management system your organization uses, the region of Ontario your organization is located in, so North, Central, Toronto, West, or East. And we'll note here that the format of this question allows you to check all regions that apply. You're not restricted to one. Should you have a main building in, say, the Toronto region, and you may have a satellite office in the North, for example, so you would check both. We do also ask that you indicate any and all affiliations, specifically if your organization is an AMHO member. Remember, E-QIP is a partnership and AMHO is Addictions and Mental Health Ontario, or a branch of Canadian Mental Health Association, or neither. It's certainly not a requirement to have an affiliation with either of these organizations, but we just want to know if you are a member of either of those. And if you're not sure, you can always reach out as well, and we can cross-reference you with a list or a database that we keep. In this section, we're also asking you to identify your QI project lead. So the information that we would be looking for is the first and last name of this individual, their contact email. Really important that this information is correct, because we use this information for outreach and follow-up for all of the applications that we receive. Contact telephone number. In the event that email does not work, we'll reach out by telephone. And whether or not you're applying for QI coaching and training as a single agency, so as one organization, or if you are applying as part of a group of providers or a network, as Linda mentioned, we're happy to support QI project submissions from collaborations for Ontario Health Teams or OHTs. So we'll go to the next section of the form. So this is related to your data collection and assessment tools that your organization is currently using. So Linda did run through some of the standardized tools and they are listed here again. So we have the OCAN, the GAIN or stage screening and assessment tools, and the OPOC. And we do have some sub questions here. If you use the OPOC, we ask to indicate how you're using that data. And you can answer that you've either implemented the OPOC and you are not yet or not fully comfortable using OPOC data to run reports for QI purposes, or you've been using the OPOC tool for some time and are comfortable using the data as part of your QI projects, processes, and initiatives. And if your organization is using another tool to collect your data, there's an open text box here where you can just let us know what that particular tool is. So that brings us to part C of the form, which is identifying the individuals that would most benefit from QI activities and resources that you feel need assessment or support through engagement with the E-QIP team. So over in the left-hand corner here, you can indicate the primary groups. QI training and measurement capacity or knowledge needs to could probably benefit from involvement with E-QIP. So we have frontline staff, managers, senior team, executive director, board level individuals. Again, checkbox so you can indicate as many of these individuals or subgroups as you would like. And over on the right, we have a variety of different QI supports that you may be looking for specifically, including assessment tools to understand your quality issue and areas of strength, exploring quality issues and developing a problem statement, which as part of a project, you would all have the opportunity to do. Analyze and prepare data to confirm or validate or support that, yes, indeed, that is in fact a quality issue within your organization. Accessing, reviewing, and using data from standardized tools. We just mentioned what some of those may be. Generating change ideas. Again, this is within the model for improvement. So anybody doing a project would have the opportunity to engage in the development of change ideas, as well as testing those ideas. And lastly, developing a quality improvement plan or QIP. This is a formal documented set of quality improvement priorities with associated metrics that are can be thought of as a commitment to the clients or tenants that your organization serves, staff, and your community. But it is a formal documented plan, and it's often shared with your board as well. So we also ask that whether or not you have an identified QI project or initiative that you're interested in working on. So that's a yes or a no. And if you do select yes, there is just a few additional open text questions that we're just asking for a few additional details on what that quality improvement project or initiative is. So we'll run through those three questions here. The first being, why do you feel this is a quality issue within your organization? So looking for a little bit of background, tell us your story. What have you noticed? Is this coming from data that you have that is identifying a service gap? Or did you recently receive funding and are you looking at doing engaging in a quality initiative that's it's an opportunity for your organization? So this is just a little bit of background about the project that you have in mind. The second question is, what is the problem, gap, or opportunity that you'd like to address? Again, a little bit further information, what specifically What data set specifically have you used to help you understand this problem, gap, or opportunity? Do you have an aim in mind that you'd like to achieve? So this is a specific outcome when we talk about what an aim is. So we have an example here as well related to measuring client experience with an OPOC. Is there a particular element of that client experience that you'd like to improve, like perhaps having a discharge plan, for example? And if so, to identify what specific OPOC question that might be. So the last question is, how is this quality improvement project or initiative going to help you improve the services that you provide and the experience of service users, of course, including their health outcomes? So those are all open text boxes on both forms. And if you feel like you need additional space, just feel free to print out another page, because we want to know everything about everything that you want to share. So question D here relates to the domains of quality that you feel that your quality issue or problem relates to. So within quality improvement, there are 6 domains of quality: safe, effective, client-centered, efficient, timely, and equitable. And within this table, we've identified, like, what does that mean for the client? What does that mean for the provider? So if you're talking about safety, you're talking about the client experience here, that the client is not being harmed when they enter service. Effectiveness, the client's receiving the right care and it's contributing to improving health outcomes. Client-centered is having the client's goals and preferences built into that care plan, and ensuring that that individual and their families are treated, of course, with dignity and respect as they go through service. Efficient relates to being in alignment with best practices, and it's evidence-based, well coordinated, and you're not duplicating efforts, so clients not having to retell their story as they transition from one service to another. Timely being that a client is able to access the care that they need in a timely manner and not having to wait for extensive periods of time. We know that for many, this is going to be a huge priority in the wake of COVID-19. We know that the demand for services has increased exponentially throughout the pandemic. And last but not least, we have equitable. So no matter who the client is, what they have, where they live, they can access the services that they need and be fairly treated within the system. And part B, or sorry, D, need to get my eyes checked. I obviously have not seen my optometrist lately, is the declaration. And this is simply the part of the form where you would have your executive director or CEO, whatever that executive leader is, sign off on your application form, declaring their support and endorsement, understanding that we're living in a digital world right now. If you don't have the ability to include a signature here, this is a checkbox, and that will be sufficient as sign off from that executive leader that they endorse the project and understand the resources that are involved. So there are 2 ways to apply, which I referenced earlier. You can either download a fillable PDF application from our website, complete and save that application and forward it to our email address, which is quality@equip.ca. Or conversely, and this is new for us this year, you can submit your entire application directly from our website by completing an online form. And these are hyperlinked here. I'll be circulating the deck in a follow-up email, so you'll be able to click on either of those, depending on what your preference is to apply. And applications are due in just about a week's time on August 6th, which I believe is next Friday, if I'm not mistaken. I see some head nods, so thank you very much. So that brings us to the question and answer period of the presentation. And for the moment, I see one question in the chat from Tara. Nice to see you on the webinar, by the way. Does it have to be the CEO, or can it be the director for organizational performance? That I'm not sure, to be honest. Linda, do you have any thoughts on that?
If I recall last year, I think we had a couple applications that may have been signed by a director. So I think what we're really looking for is a signature from somebody in a senior leadership position that has the ability to support this project, and most importantly, support and assist you with assuring that there are some resources that are applied to the project.
Perfect, thank you. So the next question comes from Beth. How long will support last? So typically a QI project is about 6 to 7 months, and recently we've adjusted our model of coaching to provide support beyond that, as we find more and more teams are working their way through the model to the point where they're actually testing their change ideas. So we've extended this period. So we'll say an average of about 8 months. Does that sound about right?
I was going to say probably on average about 7 to 9 months, depending on if we'll duplicate the model again for the next cohort.
Perfect. So next question comes from Kim. How much flexibility is there with the team meeting weekly for the QI project? This would be difficult to do given the clinical demands of staff right now. Would bi-weekly be acceptable? Thank you for that, Kim. We give weekly as just an example. We want to make clear that there is a time commitment to be able to go through all of the tools that would be involved with successfully completing a QI project. And we've seen through supporting well over 100 teams at this point that the teams that are successful are setting aside protected time, and they typically do this from the beginning of a project. So if you have a meeting schedule of weekly or bi-weekly, I think either is fine. It's the important premise would be that you have dedicated time in which you would be meeting with your team members to engage in the work. Anything you want to add to that, Linda, from your experience?
Yeah, certainly from my experience, we've seen both. Quite often the teams are meeting for example, about an hour weekly, or we've also supported teams that do meet bi-weekly. And usually those meetings are usually running then from about 90 minutes to 2 hours in length. And that's usually sufficient time, as you mentioned, Ash, to be able to get through the tools and work through some of the deliverables in the project.
Thanks, Linda. Okay. A question from Beth. How specific does the project have to be at the time of application? If we have an idea of what to look at, can we rely on coaching to help identify the specific project details, or would we not be selected for coaching if we don't have an idea nailed down? Thank you, Beth, for your question. If you don't know all of the specifics or details of the quality issue you would like to work on, that's absolutely okay. We have subject matter experts that are here to help you look at your data and help you understand what the quality issue may be. Within the application form itself, just share what you know, and we'll be reviewing all of the applications. We certainly wouldn't dismiss a submission from an agency if they didn't know all of the specifics of their quality issues. So just tell us everything that you can at the time that you submit.
Yeah, and certainly, Beth, as you know, based on our experience as coaches working with some of the project teams, as we start to go through the tools and perhaps look at some data further, it really does help to redefine or maybe even define a new focus for your QI project. So again, you know, you certainly can give us a general idea, and there's definitely coaching support to help you define and explore that further.
Excellent, thanks, Linda. So Kashi asks, how do we assign a champion? Can we please talk about that? Kashi, are you specifically referring to the role of a team lead here, or what exactly do you mean by champion? Are you able to elaborate either in the chat or by unmuting yourself?
I think one of you, either you or Linda, mentioned it earlier on the application form. So that's where I'm drawing from. Like, how do we assign a leader in there? Like, since the community partners are coming together and we are just getting to know each other, so it may be difficult to find who may be able to take the lead on it.
For sure. A coach may certainly be able to help guide that decision-making process. Typically, a team lead will either have some solid coordination skills. They are somebody that helps support the project and make sure that the work is getting done. They often have quality improvement experience from another project, but that's not always the case. You want to have somebody volunteer for the role that is dedicated to the project, has the time to be able to commit to the project. So Linda said earlier about 3 to 4 hours per week, and somebody that does have some strong organizational skills, I would say, would be of a particular asset to that role, to help set up meetings, keep the team on track, have an idea of where you are and where you should be, and adhere to some of those timelines so that the team is ready to engage with and report back with other teams during the scheduled touch point sessions. I hope that helps. And if you do have any additional questions, I mean, you have my contact information as well as Linda's, so please feel free to email us directly as well.
Okay, sure. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So Tara asks, when will the recording be available? Is it possible to get the deck today? Yeah, absolutely. I've got some flex. Jack of all trades. I'm going to be doing a quick edit of this video once we close out for the day, and I'll put together a bit of a follow-up email that includes the slide deck from today, where to go on the website to submit an application or download a form, and a link to the recording. We'll be putting that on YouTube, and at some point I'll be doing a little news story update on our website as well, and sharing through Twitter where folks can access a recording of today's webinar. Recognizing that there is many folks taking vacation right now, it's an excellent time to be doing that. No problem. So that is currently all the questions in the chat. I believe that we have some time remaining. Linda, do you mind just giving me a quick time check?
Yeah, we're at 2:36, and although it didn't come out great, Tara, I thought it might have actually copied from the bullet points, but those are some of the commitments, and I just quickly posted them in the chat. If you at least wanted those, you spoke specifically about the commitments, the commitment slide.
Thanks, Linda.
Thanks, Linda. I will copy and paste it in an email. Okay.
Yeah, we're at 2:36. So are there any other questions?
Yeah, we've got lots of time, and the remaining slides are just about other ways to engage with E-QIP and some current resources that we do have available. I also invite my colleagues to share any tips and tricks from having coached a project team, or any additional insights that you may have into the process of engaging in a QI project, like what successes look like for teams.
Yeah, I think I'll just also add, Ash, that if anybody has any other questions, you haven't thought about them today, but certainly as you're maybe working through the application, all of the coaches that you were introduced to earlier, including myself, are all available. Most of us are available. I think a couple of us have a couple of days vacation, but most of us are available if you want to reach out to us, or certainly reach out through the E-QIP email address, and Ash will connect you with one of the coaches. But we're happy to help work one-on-one in terms of your coaching application. And certainly, as we mentioned, it does not need to be perfect by any means. Some general ideas. One of the things, the benefits of participating in the cohort project coaching is that you will receive coaching on helping you further define your problem or your quality issue. One of the things we actually look at is team development. So again, we talked about some of those QI champions and how to select really good team members for success of your project team. So those are all of the things that you will benefit from in terms of the one-to-one coaching.
Thanks, Linda. And I'll just add, as you were talking about team composition, we do definitely review what that looks like, and just wanted to flag that we highly encourage the participation of individuals with lived experience, current clients, as part of your quality improvement team. They bring a very unique and valuable perspective to the work that you'll be doing throughout the project. And we'll talk about experience-based co-design, and we have some great resources that we're happy to share about that that are currently on our website, YouTube channel, as well as the knowledge expertise of our own coaches as well.
Yeah, and also I think if anybody is actually even thinking about, or your organization has prepared or is thinking about preparing quality improvement plans, you know, even participating in our cohort project coaching helps you really define a QI project and objectives that certainly then can be communicated and certainly transposed onto a quality improvement plan. So it does help to inform that perhaps plan for the next fiscal year.
Definitely. So I haven't seen any additional questions roll in, so I think I'm going to go ahead and move on. And if you do have another question, please feel free to put it in the chat and we'd be happy to answer it. So as I mentioned, the last few slides are some current resources that are available and additional ways that you can engage with E-QIP. So the first resource I'm going to talk about in detail is our Foundations to Quality Improvement, or IDEAS e-learning course. This is a 7-module self-directed course that is 100% free to anybody. It's rooted in the model for improvement. So within the course, as you go through the modules, you'll see that it would nicely align with the model. So you're looking at what your problem or opportunity might be, going through some diagnostics, looking at how to measure your system, like what different measures, what their role and function would be in when you're trying to paint a comprehensive picture of your current system and measure the success of your project or not. Going over things like run charts, how to calculate the mean and the median. Once you get beyond that particular stage, you get into some idea generation tools and overviews of those. as well as how to test your change ideas that you've recently developed using a Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle or a PDSA. And the course rounds out with a module on how to sustain your QI gains for sustainability, and how to effectively spread your change ideas to another part of your organization or system. So this is a course that we're pretty proud of and happy to offer to the sector. So if you are interested in registering, just click on the link. I'll include the information in the follow-up email as well. And I do recognize that because the registration is through Eventbrite, and Eventbrite insists that you select a date, it's a little bit confusing. So the date that is on there is set in 2022. This is not the date that you would have access to the course. You'd have access right away. The date there is simply so that the registration link is in fact staying live. But once you do register, I receive a notification email. I'll reach out to you with some additional information on how to get started with the course. And then once you're registered, you'll receive a notification email for course enrollment through our learning platform, which is called Talent LMS. So if you haven't signed up, I do encourage you to do so, and share with your colleagues that may be interested in getting a foundational knowledge in quality improvement. Within the modules, there's supplementary learning material such as videos. There's opportunities to use a QI workbook to engage in some reflection activities. And every module has a bit of a knowledge check where you can double check what you've learned and making sure that those key concepts are sticking. So I hope you would sign up for that. And this little graphic here lists off the many different ways that agencies are invited to connect with E-QIP, from coaching consultations, engaging in a community of practice if you feel like your organization's quality improvement skills are fairly advanced or robust. We are running we'll run community of practice with 2 substreams focusing on access to care. And we've changed the language a little bit, so it's advancing equity through quality improvement. So please reach out to me if that is something that you're interested in. I'd be happy to connect you with one of our directors to speak about that further. We offer agency-specific governance and leadership training. We have, if you're just getting going on your QI journey, there's lots of great webinars on quality improvement and data that you can check out. These are available on our website. And we have our platforms to connect with us and share all the different offerings that E-QIP has. We have our newsletter, we're on Twitter, we have our website, and I did mention the communities of practice as well. So here you'll see our Twitter account. You can follow us at equip_on. Our email is quality@equip.ca, and our website is www.equip.ca. So you'll find tons of resources there on how to do quality improvement. And I'll flag that the website is continuously being updated, and we'll be uploading some new tools and templates by the fall that we're really excited about. So a little bit of a teaser there, I suppose. And that brings us to the end of our presentation today. So I want to thank everybody again for joining. I'm just going to stop sharing so we can see each other. But really pleased that you took the hour out of your day to join us, and hope that you all submit a QI application. We're really excited to be able to support the sector. It's really, really rewarding work. So we're really, really thankful for that. And I'll open it up if anybody has any questions before we sign off. We've got a little bit of extra time before the hour.
Hi, I just wondered if anybody would be willing to share some of the projects that you've worked on, some of the like exciting projects that have gone maybe through the last cohort or something like that, even just like at a high level to kind of get an idea of what you've been able to coach people through.
Thanks, Beth. I'll defer to the coaches. Unfortunately, I don't directly coach teams myself, but my excellent colleagues have. So I'll ask Linda, Belle, Rishi, Laura, any highlights from your illustrious career that you want to share?
Worked with a lot of projects certainly over the years. A lot of them, definitely a fair number of projects are looking for access to care. You know, transitions of care is a key area as well. Sorry, I'm getting a message, my internet's unstable. Hopefully you hear me. Also looking at, worked with a number of, in the last cohort that we're actually looking at discharge planning. So how to improve that process within the organization. Last year, a lot of our cohorts also, one of our focus was around the OPOC, the Ontario Perception of Care tool. And so we had organizations take a look at that data. And as you know, when you produce some of those reports, they often come up with a few key areas, perhaps where there are some room for improvement. So projects often focused on one of those three areas. So again, they often were around wait times. A very common one as well is clients knowing how to make a complaint within an organization. Some areas did focus on that. Virtual care was pretty big in last year. Ways to improve access to virtual care and technology for supports. Do any of the other coaches want to talk about some other ones?
I just wanted to flag for you, Beth, on our website under the resources, you'll see something called QI on the fly, and that provides a like one-page snapshot of some of the really quick innovations that were submitted from agencies during the pandemic, as we saw lots of people having to adapt or adjust on their service delivery model in the face of the pandemic. So it may be of interest to check out.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And Arash, some of the previous report backs, are they still on the website as well?
Yes, there's a link to those webinars for sure. I think
so if you see on the website anything that says a report back webinar, that's where some of the teams then actually prepare a bit of a PowerPoint presentation and they share their project and their key learnings from that project.
It's okay. I'll just chime in really quick, and I don't have much in addition to what Linda had said in terms of what we were coaching, what organizations were looking at in terms of coaching. But what I will say is my observation as a coach over the last 4.5, almost 5 years, is that when we first started coaching organizations, they were really in that discovery stage of trying to understand what quality improvement was all about, and trying to figure out, what is my problem? How do I know what my problem is, and where do I focus, right? And working through the E-QIP process and working through the different and various tools with the coaching, organizations were, one, learning new tools, new methodologies, plus doing their regular, positions and jobs and duties in their current roles. And they were also try to, work through this project and affect change, right? And so we found that organizations, just to learn the QI tools themselves was a win, right? That was the project, was learning the model for improvement. And then as we've worked with organizations, what I have noticed as a coach is that the teams are coming forward with more complex and more developed problems as they themselves have become more mature in the language around quality improvement. And so whether you're looking at access or whether you're looking at transitions in care, really what it is about improving the service that you're providing, right? And using the data that you have, whatever that is, whether it's qualitative, quantitative, combination of both, and focusing in on that as a team, as an organization, and gathering together around building that culture of quality improvement, building that culture around data and using data in a meaningful way for the people that you serve. And it all comes down to that question around, so what? So when you're sitting around the table and you're trying to figure out what it is that you are wanting to improve on, ask that question, so what? What's in it for the person that you're serving? And that might help you kind of spark that discussion around what it is you're wanting to focus in on as your issue, your quality issue.
Thanks, Laura. So, unless there's any last minute questions, we may be able to end and give folks about 9 minutes back today. And as I mentioned, I'll put together the follow-up email with a link to the recording at some point this afternoon. I'm not sure exactly when that will be. It kind of depends on how well behaved my internet wants to be. So I want to thank everybody again for joining this afternoon, and thank you very much to my colleagues that took the time to join, and really appreciate it. And very hope that you'll submit an application. And if you need any help, please email the quality inbox, and I'll be happy to direct that to the appropriate person. We're always happy to give a hand to help complete an application if you're a little unsure about anything.
Thanks very much. This was really helpful.
Awesome. Really glad to hear that. Thank you so much. So enjoy your day, everybody, and look forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.
Thanks, Ash.
Thank you.